devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
all in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond Marsh!
The sickest NHL podcast. Brought to you by TCS Customs and Logistics. moving pieces, delivering peace of mind. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here in the Sick Podcast Network. He is Pierre McGuire. I am Jimmy Murphy. Pierre, the Carolina Hurricanes lived to fight another day. It was not the easiest game to watch, I must admit, but it's not about how pretty it looks. It's just about getting that win. And you know what? I saw your recap you did for CBS HQ. You did great. Yeah, you nailed it though in your recap, Pierre, where you said they stuck to their game and they had the neutral covered.
Well, I give them a lot of credit. I mean, they could have mailed that thing in. They could have mailed that thing in 100%, and they chose not to. I mean, the biggest thing is I thought that Brent Burns and Jacob Slavin played their best game of the playoffs as a tandem. I thought that their depth at forwards was very apparent. You could see that Florida was missing Nico Mikkola. You could see they were missing AJ Greer. You could see they were missing Sammy Reinhart. You could see that. But Carolina, that's not their fault. They played a whale of a game. They deserve a lot of credit. Their penalty killing was exceptional. They were perfect 4 for 4 on the penalty kill. They held Florida to 20 shots on goal, not an easy thing to do. And I thought moving off of Freddie Anderson for game 3 wasn't right. I said it at the time. They put Anderson back in, and he stone cold delivered in game 3 or game 4. So do I think they're going to get back in the series? It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But if they win game 5, then there's a little pressure the other way.
Yeah, you never know there. I think the other interesting point there you made too about Anderson, Pierre, on the CBS hit you did was the rebound control that he had last night. He hasn't had that as much lately. I thought that was key as well, because we know how much Florida likes to go to the net and capitalize on loose pucks there and bury it home. So I thought there was a great point by you there too.
Thank you. I thought, well, quite frankly, I mean, I give Rod and his staff a lot of credit, Jimmy. Look, everybody's counting them out. I don't think they're going to win the series, and they might. And if they do, I'll apologize. But they deserve credit for one night. They could have mailed that in yesterday, and they chose not to. I think if I'm Florida right now, I'm starting to see how important Mikkola is to my team, and I'm starting to really see how important AJ Greer is to my team. And I've always known how important Sammy Reinhart is. So they got some issues that they got to work out there, injury-wise.
You know what? I'm having a connection issue. I'm going to come back right in through audio. So if you hold the fort down, I'll be right back. I apologize.
You don't need to apologize. It's all good. We understand. It's just technology. And I will say this about Carolina, Florida as well. Biggest thing to me is Florida didn't manage the puck particularly well. I was really disappointed in their puck management on the power play. I was really disappointed on their puck management 5-on-5. And I didn't think they were nearly as effective coming out of their own zone. They were mispassing pucks. They were overhandling pucks. They were putting pucks in teammates' feet rather than putting it tape to tape. So I didn't think it was a particularly good game for them. And by the way, Bobrovsky was awesome. As great as Freddie Anderson was, for Carolina, Sergei Bobrovsky was off the charts good. That thing could have been a blowout. I know it's 3-0, but 2 of those goals were into empty nets. So give a lot of credit where credit's due. And Bobrovsky's done a great job this entire playoff. I think if the Conn Smythe were being rewarded or awarded right now, he would be the guy that would win it. And so you look at it long term, this series still has a lot of mileage left in it. But I do think it's a tough ask right now for Carolina to come back and actually force a game 7. We'll see how it plays out, but I think it'll be a tough ask. Jimmy, you back? We don't have Jimmy back yet. We're working on that. I know that he's had some software issues at his home. He's in the process of moving right now, so we'll see whether we can get Jimmy back or not. I think another thing going into tonight's game, let's talk about the West now, because everybody's kind of focusing in on what Edmonton's doing right and what Dallas is doing wrong. Part of the problem for Dallas right now is I think they've got some guys without Rope Hintz in the lineup. They got some guys that are struggling offensively. When Rope Hintz is in the lineup, it makes everybody better. It makes Michael Granlund better. And it definitely makes Mikko Rantanen better. So they've got some issues to work out there in Dallas tonight when they're in Edmonton. But the truth of the matter is the Edmonton Oilers are playing good hockey right now. And whether it's Evan Bouchard, whether it's John Klingberg, whether it's Brett Kulak, whether it's Troy Stetcher, whether it's Jake Wallman, whether it's Darnell Nurse, those guys in defense, they're not allowing a lot of second chance opportunities. And I think that's really frustrating the Dallas Stars. Jimmy, welcome back.
Yeah, let's hope it holds up here, Pierre. I apologize, but as I said, I'm in a temporary place before I move into my new apartment, and the connection has not been good. I heard what you're saying there with the game tonight, Pierre. Look, Edmonton, I think, has done a great job of almost playing a little bit like Florida, ironically, Pierre, the team that beat them in the final and the team that is in the conference final in the East that they might rematch against. But I like how they've been able to kind of play a more physical style, a more clamped down style than maybe we give them credit for. And I think if they can continue that, they'll be huge. But one guy I'm looking at on the other side to break through, and he got credited for a goal after not originally getting it the other night, Jason Robinson, Pierre. And I'm going to mention him a little later in my Betway picks, but if he can get going, that's going to help them a lot, because I heard you saying that they need more depth scoring right now. Would you agree?
Yeah. They need that. They need him to get going, but they need Wyatt Johnston to get going. Wyatt Johnston's he's minus 17, I think, in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You don't if you're on a winning team that's gotten to the Western Conference final, you shouldn't be minus anything. So he's having a tough go of it right now. And if they could get Rope Hintz back, that would help them a lot. That Rope Hintz affects probably 3 or 4 people, not just 1 or 2. He affects a bunch of people.
And he's still, from what I don't know if you mentioned Neil Pierre, but I've seen all day, he's a game time decision, apparently.
Yeah, a game time decision. That's exactly right.
So we'll see what happens with that. I'm with you on that too. I kind of look at that injury there, Pierre, was almost like, and I know they're 2 different positions. I'm not comparing a forward to a goalie. Yeah. Obviously, you can argue a goalie is much better. But in terms of mental, what's the word I'm looking for? Having a key part of your lineup that you depend a lot on, that does a lot of things maybe that doesn't show up on a scoreboard, is what Hintz is to me up front for the Stars. And it's a little bit like when they on the Maple Leafs lost Stolars, it was more of this mental block. It wasn't necessarily that Woll wasn't playing that, playing horribly in net. It was just that they had gotten such a groove with Stolars. I think you could say the same happens with forward lines, right? It makes the lineup has to change because when a guy goes out like that, but he does so much more than just get goals and assists. He creates a presence in front of that net. He creates havoc, and we saw that on some goals in the second round as well.
Yep, agreed. Totally agree. I for Dallas is they got to win. I mean, they can't lose tonight. They lose tonight, they're in big trouble. Whether they win the next game or not, they're not. I don't think they're going into Edmonton and winning a game 6. So they got to win tonight.
Do you think so? Let's say they lose this series, Pierre. Do you think that it's fair to put Ottinger in that question mark category that we still have Hellebuck in?
No, because he's been in the Western Conference final 2 years in a row now.
Well, right. But Hellebuck was once, right?
How many years ago?
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing on Hellebuck. I know who he lost to last year. He lost a stare down to Alexander Georgiev. He did.
And where's Georgiev now?
Well, he was in San Jose, but I don't think he's there anymore.
No, he's not. He might be going. I don't know for sure, but I don't know. He doesn't have an NHL job right now. So
that's what I'm saying. He was in San Jose, but now I don't know where he's going to be. But all I'm saying is I think they turn it into a fair fight too for the job next year for the Olympic goalie.
Mm-hmm.
I think Connor Hellebuck will be in trouble. They turn it into a fair fight, but we'll see. I mean, the one thing I'll say is, as much as Connor Hellebuck hasn't won a key times, I'm looking at this Stuart Skinner and I'm saying, if you're mentally tough and big and athletic, like Stuart Skinner is, and kind of like how Connor Hellebuck is, it's hard to write those guys off. It's hard to write them off. The one thing, the most underappreciated thing about Jake Ottinger, I don't think people realize how big he is.
No.
Because he's a lean, athletic guy. He's a big guy. He's almost 6'6". He's a big guy. And he's really athletic.
And if you were to break it down, and I haven't broke down every single goal, I'm just going off the top of my head what I remember here. from this series. I don't put the fact they're on the verge of going down 3-1 on him right now at all. I don't think it's necessarily.
He
one or two that he could have back? No. Yeah,
he had a
but
stinky game 3. He was no good in game 3. He'll be the first person to tell you. I think he'll have a huge bounce back tonight. But he had a stinky game 3. He was no good. He'll be the first person to tell you I was no good. Like I just said that to our viewers and listeners. You can't say Bobrovsky played poorly last night in game 4. Like Bobrovsky played out of his mind. That thing could have been a blowout. He was phenomenal.
Did you hear Maurice's quote post game?
Yeah,
that was great.
The two goals I had a problem with the 2 last goals. Yeah,
the last 2 goals were bad. He didn't close the gap.
That was good.
But yeah, no, he wasn't the issue last night. He was great. But I think, Pierre, as I said to you earlier today, I just felt like watching Florida, and this is human nature.
Yep.
And it could be fatigue as well. We really haven't seen them hit a wall yet, right? They came flying in off that 7-game series from Toronto. They had been on the road for a while. We haven't seen them really hit that playoff wall that every team usually does when you go deep. And maybe it was that, and maybe they were just looking ahead. It looked like they were more kind of pulling back, waiting for that the opponent to make a mistake as opposed to attacking. That's just
I didn't like their puck management at all. I didn't like their decision making with the puck. I didn't like any of that. I didn't think they played a good game. But that's not Carolina's fault. Carolina played a really good game.
Yeah.
Carolina I'm telling you right now, like you go watch the tape of that game, which I've done, and you watch Jacob Slavin and Brent Burns. Burns hasn't played this well the entire playoff.
No.
He hasn't. I know they beat Jersey and I know they beat Washington, but those guys were just adequate. They didn't have to be great.
Yeah.
But those 2 last night were really good. They were heroic last night on defense.
Yeah, and that was huge too for Slavin because I think he's been obviously the backbone of that defense there, and I think you'd agree with me, Pierre. Throughout the course of this series, at least, he hasn't been himself. I don't know if he's battling something, who knows? But
no,
he found it last night. He found it last night.
The first 3 games of this series, he has not been good.
No,
but game 4, that guy was really good. He was outstanding.
So, I was seeing some people break this down, listening to different podcasts today, and they're saying, well, that's great and all, but now, him and Burns, that's great. They had a good game, but they racked up a lot of minutes. Can their bodies handle that? Can their age handle that? And I'm like, it's the playoffs, man. These guys will dig deep.
I just have a question. What are you supposed to do? Just lay down and not play well?
Yeah.
Like, what are you supposed to do?
You don't worry about that at this time of year.
Hey, by the way, Jimmy, I want to congratulate you. Good job on all the scoops on the Bruins coaching job.
Oh,
and
I'm
glad that so many people in the what do they call that?
We'll say the
social media world. I'm glad they're reading your work and jumping on your back. It's good.
I appreciate it.
Good job by you. And I can tell everybody, all those reports that Jimmy put out, Jimmy put those out first. Okay? Nobody else did. So if you're reading somebody else's reports that are copying Jimmy's, they're copying Jimmy's. Jimmy provided those, just so everybody knows.
Thank you. And I will say, in case anyone here watching or listening did not see, I did report now that it appears Jay Woodcroft is the front runner. Nothing's set in stone yet, but it seems like it's going down that path. We'll see what happens. They're still conducting in-person interviews. While we're on that topic, I'm glad you brought that up, Pierre, because I don't think, at least here publicly, what did you like about what Woodcroft did when he was in Edmonton? Like, what good things do you remember that he did there, like in terms of the team and how he ran it?
I think he interacted with the players well. He's got a lot of experience. He's from the Babcock coaching tree. Learned a lot from him. He learned a lot from Todd McClellan. He ran his own bench in the American Hockey League, which really grooms you and gets you ready because you have to battle through a lot of adversity when he was down in Stockton. He comes from a hockey family. He's got a lot of experience. He has a lot of experience. Is there one thing that I could say, oh, yeah, he was elite at this? No, there isn't. There's not one thing. But can I say he's got a wealth of experience? The answer is yes. Did he do some good things with their team? Yes. Were they more responsible defensively when he was there? Yes. Did it cartwheel out of control at the end quickly? Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
So here's my thing I've always wondered too, and I don't know. I have no idea what happened, what led to the firing there, and what was going on behind the scenes. But you've been an assistant coach on a team where you had to help coach some pretty big name superstars.
Yep.
Some of the best in the world at the time you were coaching them. Obviously, Mario Lemieux, Jaromir Jagr, Kevin Stevens, Mark, and just you had to coach a lot of star players with a lot of clout. Woodcroft comes in his first gig, and he has to do the same thing, obviously, with Draisaitl and McDavid. What is it like when you're a young coach like that and you're just starting off and you're having to coach a player of that caliber? Is it intimidating, or how do you overcome that? What do you remember about doing that? And
What I remember the most, Jimmy, is being the most prepared. I had an answer for every question that they might have. I had, prior preparation prevents potential problems. Our practices were as good or better than anybody's in the National Hockey League in those years that we were all together. We were organized. We were fast. We played a certain style. We worked on that. Our special teams were outstanding. Barry Smith, Rick Kehoe, Scotty, Bob Johnson. We had a lot of Rick Patterson. We had a lot of good people there. So what I remember the most is being the most prepared and players that were really receptive to wanting to get better. Kevin was an animal in a good way. Kevin was great. Jaromir was amazing. Recchi at the beginning. Recchi was awesome. Joey Mullen. I think I've told you this before. Two of our older players were Larry Murphy and Joey Mullen. And they would let me know the day before a regular practice, not a game day practice, a regular practice, want to go out early. Joey would want to work on his release, and Larry would want to work on his lateral mobility on the blue line. So just be the three of us on the ice early before practice, and usually it was like 30 to 40 minutes before. And they were so honed in. So it wasn't that big a chore to work with those guys. They wanted to win. So I was grateful. I learned, again, you look at, I'll never say that, oh, yeah, I came up with all this stuff myself. No chance. I had the best teachers in the history of the game. I'm so fortunate every day. I try to share that with our viewers and listeners.
Yeah.
I was so fortunate. I learned from the very best people, and I try to remember everything they taught me. It's not always perfect, but I try my best to do that.
Is there – when you have a player with so much offensive potential, like say a Jagr or Mario, right? And obviously that's what Woodcroft had in Edmonton with McDavid and Draisaitl. But you said one of his strengths as a coach is his defensive system. How do you balance incorporating that without restraining them from utilizing the skills they have?
So Scotty had the best line of all. There are rules for everybody, and then there are different rules for other people.
And that was understood.
Understood. You didn't have to bring it up. It was understood. So, you could be Kevin and maybe turn the puck over at the offense, Kevin Stevens. You could be Kevin or Mario or Mark or even Ronnie and turn the puck over at the offensive blue line. But if you were my friend Jay Caulfield, or if you were one of our buddies, Phil Bork, and you did that, you're going to get it at the bench. Or you're just going to sit on the bench, either or, but you were going to get it one way or the other. Whereas those guys, they had more of a leash. They could run a little bit longer because they were so gifted. Like Kevin. Jimmy, Kevin will never tell you this, but I will tell you this. Our practices were hard. Okay? They were hard. Kevin was unbelievable. Like, I'm just telling you, he was unbelievable.
I could see that. I wasn't around for it, but no.
I mean, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, but I'm so grateful to have had the privilege of coaching him. Because if he could do it, the guys would say, "Holy moly! If he's doing it and Jagr's doing it, I better do this." So it never became a problem. And so I was always grateful to Kevin and Jaromir. Jaromir was an addict. I mean, you had to get him off the ice. And then they get mad at you. Like the bosses would get mad at you. What are you doing out there with him? He's been out there for 2 hours. He wants to work on his spin moves. Like, what do you want me to tell you?
That's great.
And
that's good.
2 years ago, Jaromir was at Mario's fantasy camp. And you didn't have to play if you didn't want to. He's there just to, be a Penguin, which is what the fantasy camp's all about. And Jaromir goes, no, I'm playing. And I'm telling you right now, Jimmy, like he could still play. Now,
Yeah.
he's not the same tempo, but athletically, he's still the same athlete. He's an amazing athlete. And I told him, I said, hey, Yarmer, you should make one more comeback. Come back and play. And he said, no.
Just like
he said, no.
He's a treasure. Well, I wonder, because I'm thinking, we don't know if it's going to happen, but if he was to get the job, you can't help but think that experience for Woodcroft, wherever he ends up, whether it's Boston or another team, having coach players of that caliber,
It matters.
obviously helps your development.
You know, it's been,
and you learn just as much from them as they do from you,
That's such a good statement that you just made. I won't tell you the team, but I'm going to say this was probably 7 or 8 years ago. The owner brought me in to talk to me about his team and my vision if I went to work for him for the team. And he asked me questions about everything I'd ever done. Coaching college, coaching camps, coaching players, working with different people. Never once. I was really disappointed too. Did he ask me about Mario, Larry, Ronnie, Kevin? I was really disappointed. And I said to him after it, I didn't get the job. And he's a very, very good owner, very good man. I said, did somebody not prepare you to ask me about those guys and working with those guys? He goes, I never thought of it.
Wow.
And what you just did, it shows you what you're doing with Woodcroft. That experience matters. Don't forget, he was in Detroit as an assistant. He saw what Babcock did with Datsuk, and he saw what Babcock did with all those young guys, Zetterberg, that were about to become stars, Cronwall, what he did with all those guys. People don't want to talk about it. Like Babcock, you can say whatever you want. Babcock took Anaheim to the final in 2003. Babcock took Detroit to the final in 2008 and won. Took them to the final in 2009 and lost in the final. Won the gold medal in 2010. Won the gold medal in 2014, and won a World Junior gold medal in 97, I think, 97.
Yep.
So you put it all together. Don't tell me Mike Babcock's a bad coach. Mike Babcock maybe said some things he shouldn't have said, but oh my gosh, man, that guy's a good coach. So a guy like Woodcroft, he learned from Babcock. Babcock hired him. There's a reason why he hired him.
Yeah. So he's going to know, he's going to have at least a better feel of how to handle a player.
How to work both his own experience and seeing what other people did. I can tell you this right now, how Bob Johnson worked with star players was different from how Scotty Bowman worked with star players. It was different from how Paul Holmgren worked with star players, all different people that I've worked with over time. So you learn, here's what I think is appropriate. This might not be so appropriate.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you just did is really smart, because I think that really helps a kid like Woodcroft a lot.
All right. Thank you. All right. Moving on here, Pierre. Back to this, the Dallas. I look at them, right? When we came into this series, we were both in agreement that we thought they'd win. We looked, okay, this is their time. They're going to get revenge for last year and they're going to move on. I'm wondering, for all the reasons you thought that, what one of those reasons, which ones aren't happening right now that you saw throughout the playoffs that they were going to finally push through to the final? What have they veered away from the most, in your opinion?
You're talking about Dallas right now?
Yeah.
I'm going to say they veered away from being stout around the blue lines. I don't think they've been nearly as stout at the blue lines. I think they've been wayward with the puck. I think they've given up more odd man rushes. They've exposed their defense to a lot of odd man rushes. I think they just haven't been as managing of the game. They haven't managed it as well. And I think managing the game usually is from the blue line to the blue line, or the top of the circle to the blue line. That's kind of where you manage the game. And I don't think they've managed. That's got to be driving Pete DeBoer nuts, because again, you spend time with these people and you travel with them and you watch them coach and you talk strategy and you see how they conduct practice. So you And I think that's kind of been driving Pete nuts. I don't think they've managed games well, and I think they got to get better at that if they're going to get back in a series. And I'm not trying to pick a fight with anybody, but if you're a fan, don't think you know what a GM is going to bring to a team, because you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You can be excited about it. It's okay. But a lot of these guys, what you read in the paper and what they actually do are way different. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't know what the budget was, where the guy used to work. You don't know the influence of the owner. You don't know if internally he's being sabotaged. You don't know if he's got a bad working relationship with an owner. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into this that people are not aware of.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Not.
And so when you're not managing the game like that, Pierre, as a coach, what are you telling the guys to get back to it, to reel
Back
it in?
to our identity, back to what we've done all year, back to being simple and smart. You know, you don't toe drag a guy at the defensive blue line. If you're the last guy back, you move the puck.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're at the offensive blue line and you're one of the guys that has a little longer leash to run with, then maybe you can do it. But you don't do it at your blue line.
No.
So it's just little things like that.
Yeah. And I wonder too how much maybe, you know, we talk about the superstars on the other side there, how much of an effect that has on these guys veering away from that. Are they thinking about what they might do enough as opposed to what I'm doing?
You know what I think is important, and you just touched on a little bit. I read something McDavid said. He doesn't say much. So when he says something, he's like E.F. Hutton. When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. When Connor talks, you should listen. He was mad. He said, yeah, we can play defense too. It was after game 2 in Dallas.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, we can play defense too. I think he's tired of hearing how they're just one-dimensional players and all they can do is play offense. And now I will tell you, I've done a lot of their games, especially when Connor was younger. They did not play defense.
No. But it's changed.
I remember one night in St. Louis, I'm telling you, you'd have to look the score up. They got pulverized in St. Louis. This was Todd McClellan was coaching them in Edmonton. They got wiped out, like bad.
Yeah.
And at one point, where you used to work in St. Louis, you were closer to the Blues bench, and then there were people sitting next to you, and then there was the Edmonton bench or the visitors bench. And it got so loud. I could hear Todd. He was so upset about how poorly they were playing defensively. It was unbelievable to actually listen to it.
Good stuff.
But that's what I mean, like what you were just talking about. So
I remember that interview.
He's like, really? I'm going to show you guys.
Yeah, enough of this question. He's like, did you not watch the playoffs last year? I mean, enough. And I'm with him on that. He's become so much more demonstrative, Pierre. I know you said he doesn't speak much, but when he does, he's very he enforces what he's saying, and he does. Makes sure
I agree with that. Like, he's a proud guy. I will tell you this right now. I think and Mario's never told me this. He's never once told me this. But I think it bothered Mario that people questioned his defensive ability.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever he had a chance to prove people wrong, he would do it. Like, I remember once it was in the playoffs. I think it was a 4-minute power play Minnesota North Stars had. I'm pretty sure. Mario might have stayed out for 2.5 to 3 minutes of that penalty kill. And he was just dragging the puck.
He wanted to, right?
He just wanted to show everybody. I'll show you guys. I'll show you. He was great. I mean, there have been so many great players in the history of the game. Look, you can be a Gretzky fan. There's nothing wrong with that. You can be an Orr fan. You can be a Rocket Richard fan. You can be Gordie Howe, whomever you choose, Jean Beliveau, doesn't matter. I'm just going to tell you, I have seen him do things I've never seen anybody else do. Mario. Yeah. He's had in my vision, and just me, I've never seen anybody like him.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that, Pierre. I mean, I just watched that 91 conference final against the Bruins when you guys went down 2-0, and then you won 4 straight after that. I just remember the way he would go out and, like you said, he would play keep away at times, and he would just suck the energy out of the Garden crowd. Like, you know how loud it could get in there.
Oh my, that old building was loud because everybody was on top of you. It
Yeah,
was really loud. You know, Jimmy, I'm glad you brought the
he had a
he
way of just shutting them up.
he did. He had this uncanny ability to quiet people down. But to take you back on a walk through memory lane, that was the Kevin Stevens, Joey Mullen moment.
Mhm.
We're down 0-2. And we just had a players, coaches, and trainers only meeting. Nobody else around. Nobody allowed in the room. And that's where Kevin stood up and took the room over, and Joey came right in, and boom.
Yep.
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Both those guys, you know, both Boston College guys, one guy from Boston, one guy from New York, and just that was the whole series flipped right after that. It shows you the power of certain guys.
Yep.
And
Kevin didn't want to.
Mario was buying in. He was all like, "Okay, let's go."
Like, this is great.
This is awesome.
Kevin didn't want to go back to the Pembroke Country Club and listen to it all summer. That's what was going on there. That's what was going on there. Pierre, before we get to our sponsors in the Q&A too, a couple other things. One other thing specifically, we didn't talk about it. As you saw, I had an interview with Marty Walsh.
Excellent. I told you that the other day. It was outstanding. Very good.
Yeah, thank you. And I found it interesting. You know, he brought up, I mean, I brought up to him, I said, you know, a lot of talk about expansion. It seems almost inevitable that it's going to happen. Did you lose me? Okay,
No,
we're
you're
good.
good. Keep going.
Okay. And so, you know, I said, it looks like it's going to happen. You're making progress on the CBA talks right now. Is there a desire to get the talks done before the expansion comes? So that way, if you can negotiate, a part of the fee goes to the players. He did not commit to that.
Yeah.
But he did. I don't know what you felt. I thought the way he answered it was very, you know, political.
Diplomatic.
Diplomatic would be the name. Exactly.
Diplomatic.
But I felt like, you know, in the back of the, oh yeah, that's going to come up. How important is it for the players to try and get that? And do you think that could ever prolong the talks? Because the owners might say, we want one more full before we have to eventually give a portion of the players.
I have a hard time believing that the owners are going to allow that to happen.
Me too.
It doesn't mean that I'm right, but I have a hard time believing based on the mindset. Hey, I have no problem telling you this, and I'll probably get in trouble for it. We didn't go to the Olympics in 18, and we didn't go to the Olympics in 22 because of the power of the owners. They were not pleased with insurance costs. They were not pleased with ticketing. They were not pleased with shutting the league down. There was a lot they weren't happy with. And so that showed you the power of that body. That body is extremely powerful, the ownership body. And, you know, Commissioner Bettman and Bill Daley have done a really good job managing that body because there is so much power there. And I think Marty, Mr. Walsh, has done an amazing job for his constituents. And I think the players are happy. You know, the cap's going, you know, so I think they're happy. But, and this is the big but, I think they also would love to get a share of the expansion monies. And I have a hard time believing that that's going to happen. Doesn't mean it will. I'll be right. But I have a hard time believing it.
It was funny. Another person I sent the story to, I'll keep his name out of it, but he said to me, and he's more on the player's side, I'll just tell you that.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, let's see how the players feel, though, when they're part of a cash call.
Well, that's always been the big argument internally is, you know, everybody wants to be an owner till March when there's a cash call. And all of a sudden you're stroking a check for 7 figures.
Yep. Exactly. Because I don't think maybe the players understand that part of it. You know what I mean? They're just seeing the fees they're getting and the costs rising for the team. But then there's a lot of inside detail, a lot of things that happen after that maybe
there's a lot.
So that'll be interesting. Just got confirmation too as we were speaking. Pierre, we've got a great guest coming up tomorrow. He's fresh back from Sweden and Denmark, and a big win. What was it, 92 years, was it, or 90 years, Pierre, for USA gold at the World Championships?
1933.
Wow. Since 1933, the USA had not won gold at the USA Championships. And one of the players that helped them do that over there will be joining us tomorrow, and that's Vancouver Canucks forward Drew O'Connor. Big thanks to
Dartmouth man. A Dartmouth man.
Dartmouth man. And Pierre, I remember you talking about him way back when on Mitch Melnick's show, saying, watch this kid. He's
unrestricted free agent. You'll see. He'll play in the league.
A lot of teams. Yep. He'll help a lot of teams.
Oh, I was, well, all I can say is this. I wish I would have been in Ottawa a year earlier. Yeah. Anyways, Drew landed on his feet. You know, I'm happy for him. And he's in Vancouver now. And they obviously signed him to an extension, which is great. And
right away,
he's got a good agent. His agent's Matt Cater. He's got a good agent. And hey, look, it's a good opportunity for him. And he could be. He's not there yet. But if he could bring a little bit of bite and snarl to his game, he could be one of those power forwards where you say, holy mackerel. There's a little bit of Sam Bennett in this boy. You know, there's a little bit because he's big and he can. This guy can wheel. He can really skate. So
6'4", 209. So there you go. 26 years old. But we will have Drew O'Connor join us here on the Eye Test tomorrow. All right, let's get to our sponsors. TCS Customs and Logistics. Unlock the full potential of your shipping operation with TCS Customs and Logistics. From around the corner to around the world, flatbeds to air freight, customs clearance to drawback consulting. TCS is a one-stop shop for all things transport, moving pieces and delivering a peace of mind. For no obligation customs or freight quote, contact sickpodcast at shiptcs.com. Again, that is sickpodcast at shiptcs.com. And of course, our wonderful friends over at Betway, where you can still go all the way with Betway. And when you sign up for a new membership, you will get credited up to $200 if your first bet loses. That's right. You can get paid to lose. So go over there right now to that QR code in front of you if you're watching, or if you're not, you're listening. When you get access to a computer, go to the website and go to the details section and sign up for a new account there to redeem the welcome offer. This offer is not available in Ontario. Terms, conditions apply. Must be 18 plus and always bet responsibly. Let's go to the sick pick of the night.
It's time for Sick Picks. Brought to you by Betway.
All right. As I mentioned before, I'll get to the prop first and I'll tell you what I like on the game. As I mentioned before, I like Jason Robinson to light the lamp too. And right now you can get him at plus 295. That's very good value. Plus 295. If a guy that Pierre mentioned starts to get hot and find his game, Wyatt Johnson, he's got some good value too at plus 230. So check out those props there in the goal scorer, anytime goal scorer, Jason Robinson at plus 295. As for the game, I'm feeling extra time tonight. I am. I don't know why. I just love playoff overtime. There's something sick and wrong with me. I'm demented, but I love it. So go right now. If you click on the 60-minute line and you'll pull it up there and you'll see right below the regular lines, you'll see Stars are at plus 200 to win in regulation. Oilers are at minus 105. But if it goes to overtime, the value is plus 320. Give me this game to go overtime at plus 320. Let's go to your Q&A. All right, Alex Ebanowski, he's asked, what's the number one reason so many fans and executives think the answer to their team's problems is analytics? I blame social pressure on being labeled as a dinosaur and not being progressive. Alex, I think Pierre and I agree 100%. I think that there has been a wave of social pressure, especially on social media, where I talked about who was the team I was talking about the other day, Pierre, that wasn't playing with that Wolfpack mentality. I think it was the Canes. There's a Wolfpack mentality amongst the analytics crowd, and they attack. I'd agree with that. Well, that's all. Yep. Pierre agrees. All right. Next question. Bert L. Hockey and media jobs come with consistent hiring and firings. That's right. You're hired to be fired. Any tips for keeping your head up when looking for a job, not being embarrassed by what you do for work? Any experiences yourselves?
It's no fun getting fired.
No,
I'll tell you
it's
that.
not.
But I think the biggest thing, you find out the true nature of a man's character. Give him a little failure and see how he reacts. Does he melt, or does he go and attack and try to find the next opportunity? And that's one of the things that I love about this show. You know, Jimmy and I got together and said, we're going to work through this and we're going to make it work. And at the beginning, there was not a lot of financial remuneration, and it was a lot of hours dictated to it. And it's consistently grown over almost 2 years now. And a big part of it was what we did last summer. And, you know, Jimmy didn't have to do that, but he wanted to do it. And I've always been appreciative of that. And I've never been one. I had a long talk with a young announcer today, by the way, who called me out of the blue.
Wow. Oh, ironic.
And he said, he was asking me about different ways to move up the ladder in the business. And I said, for every 2 positive steps, you're going to have probably 3 bad ones at the beginning, and you're going to get kicked pretty hard, and you can't take it personal. People are going to come after you, and they're going to say stuff about you, and they're going to say, probably a lot of people that say stuff mean about you, they don't even know who you are. So don't worry about that. Just stay true to your beliefs. Don't beat other people down. Beat your way up. Beat your way up. You know, don't look for a handout. Don't look for a handout. Look for a hand up.
Yep.
You know, and work your way up. And so I think that in the hockey business in particular, it's very, very mean. And a lot of the stuff that's said about people is not accurate. It's unfortunate. I think a lot of that's come out of social media, which is really unfortunate.
Yep. I'd agree with everything Pierre just said there. And I'll just, echo what he's saying about the podcast. I feel the same way, and I'm honored to do it with Pierre. And, I think Pierre will tell you, and I'll be honest here. When we came together at that point, I was kind of thinking of a career change. So I won't lie. And Pierre will confirm that. But, I said, let's do it. Let's give this another try. And it's probably one of the best things I've done in my career. So psyched to be here and psyched to answer your questions every day. All right. Next question. Randy Workman, Pierre, who do you got?
London. I said London. I know Randy's a medicine hat guy. I know that he's a medicine hat guy. No, I get it. It's okay. But I'm staying with the London Knights. I'm staying with the Hunter brothers. I think they got a chance to win. Doesn't mean they will. But obviously I think those are the 2 best teams there. And Jimmy and I have been talking about McKenna since he was 15 and a half or 16, I think, Jimmy. We've been talking about him for a while now.
So yeah, and they will play tonight. So there's a little preview maybe of the final. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Question. WPHL, what effect would removing the trapezoid have on the game, and would you support it?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Pierre's
Thank you for asking that question. So the reason why the trapezoid went in is because the red line was in, hooking and holding were allowed, and guys like Marty Brodeur and Eddie Belfour, and people don't know this, Marty Turco, there were a lot of Tommy Barrasso, there were probably 7 to 10 guys that were just super elite handling the puck, like off the charts good, and they would break down your forecheck, and it would drive coaches nuts. And so the trapezoid was basically created to not allow those players to do that. I want every goalie to have the chance to handle the puck. Do you know why? They're going to make mistakes, especially now. And the mistakes they made are going to lead to goals, and it's going to lead to excitement, and it's going to be great. So I want the trapezoid out. Why take away somebody's skill or lack thereof?
It's already played a role in the playoffs. What do you think of taking out the delay of game when the puck goes up into the stands?
Can I just say, shh?
Okay.
I already got in trouble for this probably around 8 years ago. I was very demonstrative about that. I thought it should be a rule that wasn't part of the rule book. When I was a kid growing up, you can go look it up. I guarantee it's there. Steve shot the puck in the neutral zone in the Forum of Montreal up and out of play because he was tired and he was ticked off. Mm-hmm. And I think the late Wally Harris, I think, was a referee. And he gave him a delay of game call, which is a rule. He delayed the game.
Yeah.
But I'm like was it last night or
2
2
games
nights
ago.
ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 nights
For
ago.
the Dallas Edmonton game.
Yep.
That was a couple days ago. And the puck went out. That was definitely delay a game based on the rule.
Right.
But do you really think the player tried to do that? Like, I didn't think the player tried to do that.
No, that's my thing. Like, how many players are really trying to do that?
I don't think they are. Yeah. I don't know. I'd like to see it amended. How's that? I'd like to see it.
And what was it? Pierre, was it 2006? Did Carolina win a cup final game that way on a power play?
Well, they didn't. No, at the end it came close because Edmonton went on the power play.
Okay, but I am thinking of the right series. Right?
You are. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I watched the team. I won't say which one because this is what got me in trouble. Lose a playoff game because of that, and I said something about it, and I got in trouble. And it went a little trouble. It was big trouble.
Well, I don't want to get Pierre in any more trouble here. Let's move.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
What do we got? Bert L. How far in advance can scouts accurately generalize whether a draft is a talented one? Has a 2025 draft year been known to be weak by executives for a while?
Yeah, that's where you know if you have a good staff or not. So I would say probably the last 2 or 3 years, people could see it was starting to evolve that way. They track it at, whether it be midget tournaments or under 18s, you can track and you can see where it is. And a lot of people knew this was going to be not as deep a draft as what it is or what it could be. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Next question. Franco, more of a statement. We talk about size often, but I'm covering on my team any day of the week. Me too, Frank. He's looked a lot bigger than some of the bigger in stature forwards. Would you agree? Yes.
Yes.
Very much so.
Because he's one of those players. He's a little bit like, and he's not Connor McDavid, but like Connor McDavid, he accelerates when he has the puck on his stick. A lot of guys slow down. It's an anchor for them, the puck. For this player, it's not. It's like a feather, and he accelerates. He's actually faster with the puck than without the puck. That's an amazing gift. It's an amazing gift.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously that goal last night was huge. It got them going. All right.
What a shot. What a shot.
Yeah.
Hey, and give Nikishin credit. That was a great heads up play by Nikishin in the neutral zone on the backhand. The head manning of the puck there, that was a good play.
He's starting to feel comfortable out there, Pierre.
He is, but that's where you got it. So my only advice to Tim Gleason, reel him in. Don't let him get too comfortable.
I'm always going to be like that.
Don't let him get too comfortable too soon.
By the way, Stan Covered too, interesting stat. I'm sure you already know, Pierre, but he's still classified as a rookie. So he is, as a rookie, played in both conference finals back-to-back year.
Ken Dryden won the Conn Smythe in 1971, and he was a rookie of the year the next year.
Amazing. All right, next question. Use _031017. Pierre, what's the scouting report on top NHL prospect Brady Martin and how high he could go in this year's draft? He's been
a lot like Sam Bennett.
Yeah.
Hard, tough, mean, climbing the ladder really fast. Good. People are very encouraged by him.
Yep, that's what I'm seeing. All right, next question. Juice _031017 again. Will the NHL draft go back to a regular in-person draft next year instead of what they're doing this year? Juice, I've seen already. Daly, I think Bill Daly told Pierre LeBrun last week they're going to see how this goes, but they're already starting to hear from teams like, what were we thinking? We should go back that way. So I don't know. We'll see, but it's definitely already getting brought up by different teams.
You got a generational player that's going to be available next year in Gab McKenna. You better have everybody there.
Yep. It's a big moment. All right, next question. Chris L. Question for Pierre and Jimmy. Colorado Avalanche and the Leafs have few prospects and draft picks with mature, older rosters. Which team would you bet on to win the cup next? That's a great question.
So the problem for Colorado is I don't know what's going to happen with their center ice position because I thought that was a strength going into the playoffs, especially with Brock Nelson and Charlie Coyle coming in and Jack Drury coming in. I don't know what they're going to do because, Brock Nelson's an unrestricted free agent come July 1st. Internally, I don't know if they have anybody. I don't believe they have anybody that can replace him. And Charlie, who's a friend of ours, Charlie's not getting any younger, Jimmy, as you know.
No.
And so, I think he was perfectly slotted in that position. And I don't think Jack is going to jump up Jack Drury and be a second line center in the league. I think Jack's slotted perfectly for where he is. So I think that's one of the big questions on Colorado. What are they going to do this summer? This is for both these teams, honestly, massive summer. The only good piece of news for both organizations and their fans, not a lot of turmoil. Like, you don't have a new manager. You don't have new coaches. Everything's kind of status quo, which is, I think, really good.
All right, we'll see. Next question. Franco, how does AHL affiliation work? I remember a time where the Checkers were affiliated with Carolina.
They were. Now Carolina's in Chicago, and Charlotte is with Florida.
Yep.
So it comes down to agreements and leasing of players and things like that. It's not that complicated, but it's more of a financial relationship. It's not that complicated, but now I'll use Minnesota just because I'm aware they have the Wild, then they have their team in Des Moines, then they have their team in Iowa City. They got 3, and most teams in the NHL have 3. They have their NHL team, their American League team, their East Coast League team.
Pierre, am I right? Is Chicago still independent in terms of ownership?
Well, no, Carolina doesn't own them.
Exactly.
That's what you mean. No, Carolina. But no, okay, I'll use Tampa as an example. Tampa's farm team in the American League is in Syracuse. They don't own that team. They don't own the team.
Okay.
That team's owned locally. So that's always kind of been the way. Montreal owns Laval. They chose to do that. Ottawa owns Belleville. Toronto owns Toronto. San Jose owns San Jose.
Yeah, a lot more owned now.
There are other ones that people own on their own. Yeah, but they make these decisions. So it used to be you would lease a player. So let's say the player was, I don't know, let's just $100,000. Well, that owner would pay you whatever. There would be a lease on a player, and it'd be on either a per game or per month basis.
Right. And Chicago at a couple times had a mix, right, of players.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, there were a bunch of teams that did mixes back in the day. Hey, Jordan Binnington.
Springfield did it for a while.
But they did. Springy did do it for a while.
Right. Yeah.
Springfield had the Islanders and the Hartford Whalers.
Yep.
And Jimmy Roberts was coaching there, and they won the Calder Cup.
Yep.
So that definitely used to happen.
Yeah, mentioned Jordan Binnington. You were going to go there.
No, Jordan Binnington. St. Louis didn't even have him in their organization. He was playing in Dallas's.
Yeah, and then at one time, before he finally got the call to St. Louis, he was a goalie for the Providence Bruins.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he was in different areas, so that just shows you.
And he went on 4 months later to stone them in the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks for coming.
All right. See, next question. Vincent Noel. Hello, gentlemen. It seems that so many issues a team may have start with ownership. Do you know if the NHL has ever ushered an owner out of the league? Oh, yeah.
I'll let him talk about that.
I'm not gonna. I don't know enough details, but I do know. Yes, my mistake. Maybe I'm not gonna say names, but the Islanders, one of those teams.
I'm not saying anything, man.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, but I've heard stories about that, but I don't know for sure. Next question. Franco, how much weight do you put on best junior tournaments such as World Juniors, Memorial Cups when scouting? Would you be concerned with weak performances in these tournaments versus regular season?
Yes, and yes. Best on best at that age is really important. It's like the Quebec Pee Wee tournament. Even before that, the Brick tournament. Go do yourself a favor. You really want to see it from telling you the truth. Go look at the rosters of the players that have played in the Brick tournament and the guys that have done well, and then what they've tracked to end up doing. Same thing with the Quebec Pee Wee tournament. So, that matters. All that best on best stuff matters a lot. Yeah,
for sure. But I don't think you count the World Championship much, correct?
No, that's not a best on best.
Exactly. Just a lot of fans are really USA won. It's great, but let's pump the brakes. All right, next question. Max R, why do you think teams like LA and Pitt have struggled so much in the playoffs after winning multiple cups? The cap.
And winning multiple cups. Players want more money.
Exactly.
So they can't keep him. So to Jimmy's point, the cap.
Yep. And then also, Pierre, you're always in a position where you want to win, so you're trading away picks. You're trading away first rounders all the time. Sooner or later it catches up.
Ask Detroit.
Yep. Exactly. He's 2016 now. All right, next
That's
question.
Detroit. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. All right, what do we got? Mike Gaudette, question: do you guys think that Cole Reshley should pronunciation? I apologize. Should be picked between 10 and 15?
I'm not even going to go there, Mike.
Yeah,
I can't do that right now. I'm watching so many games. I'm not doing draft stuff right now.
What we will do, guys, is right after the season ends, we'll brush up on that. We'll get into it. Don't worry.
Well, it's not that we're not brushed up. I'm not going to shortchange a kid going in I need to do some serious work.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's just, I don't feel comfortable doing that to a kid one way, positive or negative. I just don't feel comfortable doing that.
Yep. All right. Next question. Zahal, how many years in advance do NHL teams start scouting for a certain draft?
Scouts have their jobs, Zahal. So a guy could be in charge of watching futures. That's his only job. He just goes watch young kids play and they keep filing reports. And then as guys make it, they addend or they make adjustments to their reports. But a lot of the best scouting staffs always have somebody that's doing their futures department. So it's not a real sexy job. You're going to a lot of small rinks early in the morning and you're maybe watching one or two or three guys that might progress, maybe.
Yep. All right. Next question. Paleskian Skeleton. Are the rumors true about 36 teams soon in the NHL? Follow up, if yes, Houston, Milwaukee, Atlanta, and Hartford or Quebec? I don't think Hartford or Quebec will happen, unfortunately.
Well, Atlanta, I think it's going to happen. I think Houston's got a real chance to happen. I think another team in Arizona could happen.
Kansas City, maybe?
Kansas City, maybe Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that are interested. I don't want to say too much, but I think there's a potential for another team in Texas as well.
All right. Next question.
Not just Houston, somewhere else.
I hope Austin. I love that place. Everyone is concerned about the top two. This is Randy Workman, by the way. Everyone is concerned about the top two free agents. There's not enough attention on Ehlers. He should be a top priority for the Jets.
He is a top priority.
He is.
He is a top priority, Randy. You're not wrong. Randy's right. Yeah. He should be, and he is. Yeah. He is a priority.
Yep. And I think he'd be a good pickup for a lot of teams if he doesn't get
look at what his teammates are saying about him.
Yeah.
They're all endorsing. They want him back.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Juice_031-017. Will Scotty Bowman be on the eye test before the Stanley Cup final starts?
That's the plan, yes.
All right. And Scotty, if you're watching, I hope you're great. Next question.
He is great. He's great every day. He's good.
Is that it? I think we're done. There we are. Just got the message from Shane there. We're done. Apologies for the connections. I know you're okay with it, Pierre, but just apologies.
Yeah, that's classy of you to do that. Yep. Your report in RG is really good with Marty Walsh.
Appreciate it.
Really good, Jimmy. And keep up the good work on the Boston coaching search. You're out front on that one, and good job by you.
Yeah, and thanks to Marty Walsh for doing that interview with me. I've really enjoyed getting to know him, Pierre. I think he is a great guy for that union right now.
Oh, he's going to do a great job for them. I agree.
Yeah. Anyhow, thanks to Shane for working the boards. Thanks to all of you for the questions you asked today, and we look forward to getting them again tomorrow. He is Pierre McGuire. I'm Jimmy Murphy. This has been another edition of the Eye Test here on the Sick Podcast Network. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.